Hi, it's Jane O'Halloran, founder of Anxiety Escape Cage. So I wanted to ask you today, does anxiety rule your life? And, because it did for me for a very long time. It ruled my life. And I can see, by the posts that people are putting on this group that actually it does for them too. For you, it can be ruling your life. And your life is the most precious thing you have. And the quality of your life is the most important thing, isn't it, to all of us? The quality of our lives. That is everything. It's everything. And you want the best person in charge of your life so that you can live a great life, so that you can enjoy your life, so that you can live fully and do all the things that you want to do. You want to have somebody who really kind of knows what they're doing in charge of this precious, precious commodity of life. Because we know that life is precious, it's finite. For most of us in this group, there's probably less of our life ahead than we've already had. We really want to make the most of it. You really want to make the most of your life. And yet, for a lot of people, what is ruling your life? Anxiety, fear. Fear is ruling this precious commodity of your life. And it's keeping you in a cage. It's limiting your life. It's destroying the quality of your life. And every decision that you make and everything that you do, the way you live your life is ruled by this fear, this anxiety. So that you have to keep your life very constrained, very small, within limits that you can cope with. And that is your cage. That is the cage. And, I completely get it. I completely get it. I was ruled by anxiety. Anxiety stopped me doing so many things. And, it's kind of like you end up doing less and less and less so that you are paralyzed by that fear. You're paralyzed. You can't move. You're stuck. And this cage becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. And for me, a lot of it kind of sort of seemed to revolve around food and me, because when I was at the height of my anxiety, it was many years ago when my children were small, and it was around cooking and providing for my family. And it used to terrify me. I'd sit looking at the pans and looking at the oven and I couldn't move. And it seemed really crazy at the time. I'm thinking, why am I so frightened of cooking? But actually what I realized was that I had a lot of thoughts and beliefs around myself as not being fit, not being good enough, as a mother, as a wife, as a provider. And cooking meals symbolized all of that. And so I was so frightened that I was going to get it wrong. And then if I got it wrong, it would prove that I was not a fit mother, a fit wife, fit person to be in charge of this household. That it paralyzed me. And it's crazy, I know. At the time, I was like, what is that? But actually, if I think back, it makes complete sense. when now I know the thoughts and beliefs behind that behavior, it makes sense, because there was so much at stake for me to start cooking and preparing a meal, because it was my whole identity as a mother, as a wife, as a provider. And this is the thing, it is and that is, the beliefs were crazy, I get that, but the behavior at the time made sense because of the beliefs. The beliefs that I had were way out of proportion. And that's what happens, isn't it, with anxiety? You get things way out of proportion. And part of you knows that they're out of proportion, but they are so ingrained, they're so deep down, and they engulf you. And you're in the midst of it. It's like you can't see the wood for the trees. You can't step back and look at it and go, okay, what about this belief? This is probably out of proportion here, you know, and it engulfs you. You kind of get lost in these totally skewed thoughts and beliefs about life. And that's where all the anxiety comes from. Your fear is based on these thoughts and beliefs that you've picked up. But it seems when you're in the middle of it, it is so real, because your brain doesn't know the difference. When you are feeling that fear, your brain is in survival mode, and it's giving you all of the things that you need to get out of that dangerous situation. The brain perceives it as dangerous, but it isn't actually dangerous. It's these thoughts and beliefs that you've got, that you've probably put yourself under pressure to be perhaps this perfect person. And when you're not this perfect person, when you can't quite live up to that, there's that fear that, oh my God, this is true. All these beliefs I have about how terrible I am, they are actually true. And so, you know, your brain is sensing danger, danger, danger. And it's real. It's very real. Your brain doesn't know that these thoughts and beliefs are completely skewed, completely out of perspective. All your brain senses is that danger. And so you become engulfed by that anxiety. So I get it. I've been there. And I've recovered. I've healed. Anxiety no longer rules my precious life. And I'm not a special person, particularly special, any different from anybody else. But I found a way of connecting with my true self, connecting with that part of me that is joyful and that is well-being, because that's who we are really. We're not born anxious. We can become anxious at quite a young age, depending on our experiences as children, depending on our temperament, but we're not born anxious. So our natural, who we are naturally, is that joy and that well-being. And we actually, all we need to do is clear out that junk to find the treasure that is within each and every one of us. And that junk is those thoughts and beliefs that really, you know, are completely out of perspective. And we need to clear away all of that stuff. That is our work. And then we can get to that treasure. We can get to that treasure. And you can shine your light. You can live your life fully. You can do the things that make you feel alive, that you enjoy. You can enjoy your life. And, you know, I've talked about this in a previous video, that what you need to get to the subconscious level to do this. And so I've talked in much more detail about exactly how that happens in a previous video, and I can put a link to that in these comments. So if you're interested in that in more detail of how you do that, how you clear away that junk, then do watch that video. The problem is, a lot of time is that cage that is keeping you stuck, and it gets smaller and tighter and you feel more constricted. That cage, however uncomfortable, however restricting it is, it feels safe to some extent. And the thought of stepping beyond that cage can be really terrifying. And so that's why you will often talk yourself out of doing anything that can free you from that cage. That is why you will sabotage yourself often from doing anything that frees you, because it's just too frightening. I understand that. I know that. And that's why you kind of need often a nudge from somebody who has been there and has found their way out and can help you find your way out. And you know, I had that person for me that gave me a nudge, and for me it was more than a nudge, it was a great big shove, because I was terrified. So often we do need that person to initially give us a nudge, a shove, to say, look, do this, you can do this. And then to keep with you throughout that process, to help you to go through that process, to keep you on track, to help you to see where you're sabotaging yourself, to help you see where you need to stand back and have a look at what's going on here. And that's what I do. That's what I do with my clients. I give you practical techniques and tools, but I also help to give you that nudge to keep you on track and to believe in you. For me, that was the biggest thing that changed in my life, was having somebody that really, really believed in me. So, you know, your life is precious. Life is so precious. The quality of your life is the most important thing. And you want to enjoy your life. You want to do those things that make you feel good, that make you feel alive, and not feel ruled by anxiety and fear. And yet you'll feel stuck in that cage because it feels too frightening to go further. So if anything that I've said on this video just resonates with you a little bit, then just take a tiny step, you know, because change can seem very frightening, but if you take it a tiny step at a time, it's doable. So take a tiny step, send me a message, and let's get on a call, and we can talk about how to move you out of that cage. So thank you for listening. Do comment, do ask questions. My name's Jane O'Halloran, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Love and light.